bone density. Impact training is critical. And kids need protein. Dr. Jose Antonio with Dr. Shawn Baker.
We've DEXA'd probably 200-300 athletes in the last 2 years. And it's interesting, the guys and girls who have the highest bone mineral density, well, the guys tend to be fighters or football players. What do they have in common? It's impact. Now, most of us can't play football. We can't fight. It'd be kind of goofy. So what do? Best thing to do is you run, you lift, you run, you lift. Or something that's impact. And for lower extremity, running is probably more impactful than lifting because you're not lifting that long. And for the upper extremity, probably, lifting would be the most impactful thing you can do.
DEXA scanning. It's the clinical gold standard for measuring fat, muscle, and bone density.
And there's just so many reasons why, particularly for exercise trained people, why you need to eat at least, 2.2 grams per kilo. But even people in my field, in sports science, more the clinical nutrition side, they can't believe that I recommend this amount. And I tell them, this is what I had my kids doing when they were little. I'm like, I wanted them to eat all this protein. And what's funny is now they recognize it and they comment on how some of their friends, they barely touch protein because they were told it's bad for you. And I'm like, people just make stuff up. But I guess that's why this field is interesting, because you're dealing with people who just make stuff up.
Bone density. Impact training is critical. And kids need protein. Dr. Jose Antonio with Dr. Shawn Baker. We have DEXA scanned 200 to 300 athletes, says Dr. Antonio. The guys with the highest bone density are the fighters and the football players. Impact is the key. So run and lift, run and lift. For lower extremities, running is best. For upper extremities, lifting is best. DEXA scanning. It's the clinical gold standard for measuring fat, muscle, and bone density. For exercising adults, you need to eat at least 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of your ideal body weight. That's 1 gram per 1 pound of ideal body weight. Dr. Antonio says, even people in my field, sports science and clinical nutrition, cannot believe I recommend this high amount of protein. But this is what I have my kids do. When they were little, I wanted them to eat all of this protein. Now my kids are mature. Their friends comment, but they barely touch protein because they were told it is bad for you. This is why this field is so interesting. People just make this stuff up.
Annotated and summarized. Easy to share with loved ones. The description below the title for this video has these summary points.